Live is fueled by Georgia Natural Gas and comes to you from Detroit after a massive Hawks win in the Motor City. It took overtime, but Atlanta takes it 130 to 129 over the best team in the Eastern Conference. It came down to this final possession. Tobias Harris, air ball, and of course an offensive rebound by the Pistons. That is their thing, but couldn't put it down. And the Hawks get out of town after swarming Harris. Jock Landale battling down low with Duran. Just hit the front of the rim. That could have easily gone either way, as could this game in so many moments. This was a great basketball game, by the way. I don't care who you root for. This was a fun game to watch. And a huge result for the Hawks because of the standings, because of confidence in beating a great Eastern Conference team. There's so much to feel good about coming out of this.
Absolutely. And I think that you realize that when the Hawks were up by as many as 17, that was fool's gold, because you knew this Piston team eventually was going to make a run. I like the fact that even though the Hawks were able to battle back and then reclaim the lead and then went back and forth, you go into overtime and then you lose Onyeka Okongwu. I really thought that when you lost him, that was going to be really one of the things that was going to really hurt this team. You showed just an awful lot about who you are as a team, your ability not only to come and beat a good team like this, but to be able to go back and forth against a team that could potentially win it all.
So many things we can get to here. The defense, the turnovers, particularly in the first half, in terms of the 23 points off the 14 boards. The Hawks will look back at the tape and think they turned it over too much as well. That's another thing that the Pistons are good at. But we talked about the rebounding before the game. Here we are after the game, and the Hawks come out +7 in terms of rebounds and +3 in terms of shot attempts, and that's that possession battle that Quinn Snyder's always talking about.
You get 18 offensive rebounds. You know, we mentioned the fact that the Hawks out-rebound the Pistons 50-43. You get 25 second chance points.
Yep.
And we talked about the last time that we saw this team, how it was such a big gap in how the Pistons out-rebounded. This was pure fight. You knew that you're going to have to come out, and it was going to be a slugfest. You knew that this team was going to come on, even if they were down Cade Cunningham and also Isaiah Stewart. This is a team that was still winning without them. I like what the Hawks were able to do, because what it showed is that you could get up and then probably go down and then fight your way back in. And this was a playoff type of atmosphere and type of game.
Yes, it was. There was that kind of intensity to it for sure. And down the stretch, the Hawks, we talked to Nickeil Alexander-Walker about this right after the game. All the weapons on the floor now. That's a game changer for the Hawks. C.J. McCollum is a shot maker. He has been his entire career. 14 points in the fourth quarter in overtime, and he is a forward key tonight.
Well, I'm going to call him by his government name, Christian James. Hopefully he doesn't spike my hand later. But I thought that he was really amazing, because, again, when you talk about how many different guys that they have step up at different portions of the game, I thought in that fourth quarter where C.J. was big for the Hawks, because at times their offense kind of sputtered. When the Pistons were able to make their run, couldn't find anybody who could get shots to go, and then he came up clutch. On the night, the 27 points, 10 for 21, had 5 threes. I thought that he did a great job of being able to come up with big buckets when the Hawks really needed, when the Hawks were sputtering a little bit. Pistons took their defense to another level, and it forced the Hawks into a little bit of kind of stagnant offense. When he was able to go left, right, hit the paint and knock down shots, I thought it opened up for some of the other players as well.
Final 11 points of regulation off the fingertips of C.J. McCollum's hands. And you mentioned the offense getting stagnant. Detroit has a lot to do with that, the way they play defense. But as the Hawks are moving forward, whether it winds up being the play-in or a playoff series eventually, this is the kind of stuff you have to overcome.
Well, here's the thing, is that in playoff basketball, you're not going to get a chance to really turn teams over. You'll probably have more of a half-court set. You won't run as much. That's one of the things that the Hawks have to understand, is that ball has to move. Again, this Piston team has a lot of length. They from 1 to 5, they do a lot of holding, and they're aggressive. It's an aggressive style of play. The refs allowed them to play like that. Hawks have to understand is that you can't get caught up and not getting calls. I thought that they did get have a good time where they were able to recapture their composure. I thought that in the third quarter when the Pistons went on that run, kind of got out of sorts. You came back and you were able to fight, and then defensively you turned it up another notch as well.
Well, after arguably the biggest win of the season so far, Quinn Snyder may have sprinted to the microphone. He's already there.
Oh, okay, gas up the plane.
Time for the post-game press conference presented by Georgia Natural Gas.
Yeah, I think, being up 5 at the end of regulation, and then there's a lot of times that when that happens and you go to overtime, you're a little defeated. And we talked about it, in the huddle on that last play, just that in some ways, being able to win a game on the defensive end, we've been really efficient in scoring down the stretch. But and I think we were pretty good tonight, but to get a stop to win the game was great.
Obviously, Detroit is a very good team, and they came out with sort of a lot of aggressiveness in that third quarter. Just where did you kind of see things kind of hit a snag?
We talked about it, and that they were going to raise their level, and we didn't cave, but we didn't play well, certainly. And the biggest thing was we weren't getting stops. They were offensive rebounding, and then we got stagnant offensively. I think when that happens, we turn the ball over. It's kind of the things we've talked about, and we just didn't do it for that stretch. And sometimes when a team's scoring, it knocks you back, and we lost our aggressiveness. It is really, to sum it up.
You were able to still win a possession game, but with 20 turnovers on offense, is there anything? I know they're a high turnover team in general, but anything that was troubling to you in there?
Yeah, I think when we look at them, I won't say they were unforced, because I think there was pressure and physicality, and it's little things like getting open, some errant passes where somebody was being denied and we threw it anyway, and all the fundamentals that you talk about, they're real, and we weren't as sound, and it allowed us when the ball sticks a little bit and we don't move it as much, and you can't move it, when they're that physical. You've got to work harder to shed somebody and get open, and when it stops, they're able to get into even more. So it's something I think we're aware of, and that's why it was a really good game for us. Would have liked to have it, play better in that third quarter, but the fact that we responded to it was really good.
Jalen, during a tough cover, just with O getting into foul trouble, just what did you think of the job that Jock did, sort of stepping up there? Yeah,
he was terrific, and it's one of those things where it's hard to stop him. You just have to make it hard, and he's that good a player and that physical, and Jock fought him. That's really what I think we didn't give enough help on the glass, but when he's down there, it's hard to move him, and he's so broad. You can contest a shot, but he's just a terrific player, and Jock the biggest thing he did is just competed, and I think especially late, when the game got even tighter and we needed it even more.
Well, it's not a big surprise for a guy who's been around as long as he has, but CJ having 11 points in 3 minutes at the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah. He's so confident in those situations, and at that point in the game, you're trying to find matchups and playing pick and roll with JJ Hamlin if he's got an opportunity in a matchup, and at some point, CJ with the ball just settles everybody, because even when he is pressured, we can spring him a little bit and try to help him in the backcourt where he just doesn't have to work so hard. But his ability to create a shot in those situations, and obviously, a number of them with 11 points during that span, and I think it gives everybody confidence, and it just settles you. And then couple that with getting some stops, and you're pleased with how you executed down the stretch.
Okay, Coach.
Thanks,
All right.
Coach.
Thanks, Cliff.
Yes.
That Coach Quinn Snyder has a lot to be pleased about.